Breaking it down in layman's terms, today we've got another special guest. In fact, a repeat offender. We've got Theo Gilbert-Jamison. Now, Theo's got a new book out there. Theo, we're going to talk about leadership in your latest book. But for my audience out there, I'm just going to give you a quick, summary of what Theo does in her greatness. First of all, she's an accomplished service excellence trainer. She's trained numerous organizations, members, clients across several industries, an accomplished author of a few books. Not only that, she's an executive coach. Theo, let's talk about leadership in your latest book. How are you?
Yes, Doug. Thank you so much for this opportunity. We've talked so many times, but to take some time to shed light on this new book is just a delight for me.
Well, let's just bring out the book right now. We'll put it up on screen. But I actually, just so you know, I've got the paperback.
All right.
But we're going to go deep with the hardcover as well. And the title of the book, The Value of 30 Powerful Lessons High Potential Leaders Need to Succeed. So Theo, let's get into the book right now. It's a leadership book. It's a training book. It's all kinds of information. What inspired you to write this book? I mean, you've done other books, and it's been a break since you've done books, whether it's the 6 Principles of Excellence. But let's lean into, why did you write this book? What inspired you for that?
Thank you. First of all, it's my 9th book. I did take many years off. But when I think about executive coaching and how much time I spend with leaders and executives, just really talking about what really matters, how they can be more effective, more productive, how they can inspire their team, it makes me reflect back on my time as a young professional with Ritz-Carlton and how important words were in being able to help us drive excellence. So it really is around the fact that words matter. And so the value of is about the value of 30 words that can really help to elevate the mindset of your team so that they can take service, productivity, efficiency, whatever the goals are for your organization, profitability to the next level.
Well, you've broken it down into 30 words or 30 lessons, and there's several that apply across all different industries. Was there a special number with 30, or did it just come out that way? I mean, you could probably add more and reduce more, but why 30?
Yes, thank you for that. 30 I think was a good starting point. Since I've written a book, people stop me all the time and they're like, Theo, do you have this word? Do you have that word? And I'm like, no, I don't. So there probably will be a series. This is probably one in a series of books. But when I thought about it, started with 20 words and phrases that are important, that if leaders are intentional in their communication and exemplifying these words, how it really would help them to take the service levels, again, the productivity and everything within their team, department, organization to the next level.
So Theo, you've got, 30 powerful words, phrases, and lessons, the number 30. But each chapter in this book is dedicated to one of these lessons. Now, the chapters, well, they're a good read. They're an easy read. They give you a life lesson and perspective. Talk a little bit about the format of the book.
Yes, the book is intended to be an easy read. People don't read much. However, I wanted to share good knowledge. I wanted the book to be topics that don't necessarily have to be read chronologically throughout the book. But if a leader is having an issue with accountability within their team, if they're having an issue with have employees having a sense of urgency, if they're having an issue with anticipating customer needs or service recovery. I'm looking at the cover of the book, or kindness. There's just a number of things that you can easily go into this book. It'll give you clarity because you'll have a good definition of whatever that word that you're intentional about wanting to reinforce, why that's an important word, why it's important within the organization. And also it will give you some action steps on how to really get people inspired and moving in the right direction of delivering, again, uncompromising levels of service for their customers. So the words are important, the definition of the words, action steps on how to exemplify them, and also a personal story. I like to add personal stories so that people understand that many of these are words I struggled with as a new leader also, and how I overcame that.
Well, just to kind of play off on what you just said there, because if I go through a chapter in a book, and I'm going to cheat here. I've got the book in front of me, whether I'm learning about the value of listening, the value of exceeding expectations, the value of integrity. we'll take the value of integrity for an example here. You've got the value of integrity. There's a chapter dedicated to that, but at the end of the chapter, you always put like a life lesson and a personal lesson at the end. And I
Yes.
thought that was kind of the format for each and every lesson. You kind of summed it up, because this book can help you in business, but can also help you in your personal life and communication skills as well. I look at this book as more than just a leadership book. It's a leadership book in business and well as in life in general.
Yes, and we can't reinforce enough that I wanted to keep it simple. One thing I've learned along the way in business is that when books, concepts, processes, systems are complex, people shut down, they forget, they lose track of what you're talking about. But simplicity is one of the things that is leading and driving excellence. So I wanted to make the book simple, so that people can hold themselves accountable to maybe reading one chapter a day. Heck, as a matter of fact, it's very short. You could read maybe 2 or 3 chapters in a day, or maybe you commit to reading 1 chapter a week. But I wanted to not only provide people with a good framework for how to drive excellence, but also action steps so that they're able to apply the learning.
What I like about the format of the book with that is you can read several chapters or 1 or 2, but the key is retention. I can read a book, but if I don't comprehend it, or if I don't take action on the steps that I've read about, then it's not going to give the full benefit. And you also, at the end of the book, you've got a summary of each chapter. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, I don't say you dumbed it down, but you put it in each chapter. You got the benefits, you got the stories, but then even at the end, you sum it up again. So there's retention and more retention.
Right. And the reason I do that is because repetition is good. People need to hear about, read about, see things many different times in order to, again, retain it. So at the end of the book, again, it's just little outlines of maybe the key things that you need to remember about that chapter. So that really was the purpose of that. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Repetition, or the value of repetition, I think is also in the book. So being simple, making sure that you repeat, making sure that people clearly understand as a leader what you expect. This is what the book is about, is making it simple for you to really lead your team with excellence.
Speaking of teams of excellence, who is this book for? And I know the answer to that, but share with our audience a little bit more. I mean, it obviously speaks to leadership across multiple industries, but anybody, a seasoned leader, can get information, but I'll let the author tell the answer. So who is this book? Who's the target audience? Who's the targeted reader for this book?
Thank you. You know, when I first wrote the book, I wrote it for leaders. I wrote it for mid-managers that were aspiring to continue up the corporate ladder, and what type of leadership behaviors they needed to exemplify. But as I've been working with many young adults in colleges and universities that are moving into their careers, I realized that this is a great book for up and coming leaders, for people that are just entering the job market, and also for executives too. I mean, I've been a senior executive for many years, and just as a nice resource guide to help me remember things that I need to reinforce with my team on a regular basis. So you're so right, Doug. It's for everybody. And that's kind of hard. People typically say a book isn't for everybody. This one is. And if you've got a high school student or someone that's just entering the job market, it's a great book for them. If you are a parent, if you are a leader and you want to be able to teach and impart more education and training within your team, it's a good book to help you do that also.
It's a good book for all levels of your expertise, whether you're an entry level in the job market, fresh out of school, or you're a seasoned executive. All forms of leadership and management. And that's what speaks to me in a number of ways, because I could see this book. It's a communication book. I think it's a communication / leadership book, because it gives you value add. And, if you're trying to do a new presentation, or you need to hone up on your skills, or you're just having a bad situation at work, losing clients based on retention or bad customer experience, this book really gives you those foundation points.
Love it. To sum it up, I like to call it a life enrichment book because as you established earlier, there are a lot of key points that can be used in your personal life as well as in your professional life.
Even in the book, you kind of highlighted some key takeaways from the book, whether it's, and I'm taking from my notes here, I'm not just going to put it out there, from communicate with impact, lead with unwavering confidence. So impact,
Yes.
confidence, and then driving those measurable results. Can you speak to that overall theme a little bit? Put it in Theo Gilbert-Jamison terms for us.
Yeah, I want to go back to my early years as a aspiring professional in the hospitality industry. And the organization that I work with really, really focused on integrity and how important it was to work with integrity, live with integrity, do everything with integrity. But guess what, Doug? I would nod my head and say, yes, but I really didn't know what integrity meant. I was just agreeing with my boss. So what this is about is not assuming that people know what certain words are, but if that word is important to drive excellence within your team or organization, making sure people understand what it really means. What does it mean to have integrity? What does it mean to have a sense of urgency? What does it mean to have attention to detail? What does it mean to, I'm just looking at the book too, there's so many good words. What does it mean to, be fully engaged in the work? These are words that are used in phrases all the time at work, and employees agree, but they have no clue what you're talking about. So that's what makes this a good leadership book, is that also it really, in simple terms, helps you with how to communicate more effectively so that you get the expectations and the goals that you need to achieve within your organization. One thing that I'd like to say, though, is that, when you think about the value of 30 powerful lessons that high potential leaders need to succeed, I ask leaders a lot of times, what are those top 5 or 6 values that are very important within your organization or your team in order to grow? And they're all over the place, and they struggle to even give me 5. And values are very important because they really set the foundation for who we are as a team, what we're about as a department, and the level of care or excellence that we want to provide for our customers. So when you think about the value of, every leader, should be looking at what are those maybe 5 to 10 things that are key within your department. There certainly will be listening, attentive listening. It will, again, be having attention to detail so that you're accurate, being uncompromising. It will be things like greeting, simple. Chapter number 1, the value of a smile. I think about how many people walk around the office with a frown on their face all day because nobody's really, no leader has really explained why smiling is important. It makes you come across as approachable. It also sets the tone for the office, and it makes you feel better. So, this is a very simple book. I don't want anybody to think that this is like something that's very cerebral. It's intended to be simple. And again, the reason is because you can hold yourself accountable for reading it, and you can start to apply the learning right away.
I'm going to kind of push back on that because you say it's a simple book, and it is a simple book, and it's a book that's retainable with information. Not simple in that these are soft skills, but some of these skills are hard skills that help develop your career. So if you stick to the value principles, these can help exceed your own career expectations. So I don't want to, it's simple maybe in concept, but the content can help resonate for a bigger impact.
Thank you for that. What's hard is consistency. All right. Listening consistently, smiling, with consistency, having attention to detail, just a delegating, having strong leadership, service recovery. Consistency is the hardest part. So anybody could, these are simple things. Consistency is the bear.
I just like the fact that this book, and I did a video book review. So if you go to Amazon and get a copy of this book, you'll see me doing a video book review, not to promote myself for you, but it's a definite read. But one of the takeaways that I really got from this book was, okay, it's great for management. It's great for leadership at different levels. I just fall back on the communication skills at all levels, being able to have an open mind, being present in the moment, being able to tie things down. being a
Mm-hmm.
better listener, being able to
Mm-hmm.
delegate, being able to respond, being able to
Mm-hmm. There you go.
anticipate rejection or anticipate problems that may occur. More importantly, when
Mm-hmm.
you have a problem that occurs, we can go all into your service recovery training videos, but that's mentioned in there as well. I mean, it runs the gamut at all levels of communication. So I look at this as a communication book / leadership book. I'm not going to put it in either one. I don't. So how do you where would this book go in the on a bookshelf at a bookstore? Well, it could go in several different spots.
Love it. I like the way that you're going with this because even if you think about like one of the chapters, I'm looking down at the book, chapter 12, the value of a positive attitude. These are things that we take for granted at work. Chapter 14, the value of killing people with kindness. Again, people, I can't be kind to somebody if they're mean to me. Yes, you can, because guess what? When you take the high road and you're kind, you can move on. That's their fault if they want to continue to be mean or whatever. And a lot of times, maybe somebody had something happen and they just got that mood for a moment. So this book, being self-accountable, being trustworthy, being a team player, just all the things, the critical things that are important, critical attributes, characteristics of a high-performing team.
So if somebody gets a copy of this book, anybody, what takeaway, if you could, and it's a loaded question here, but what takeaway would you want that individual to have from this book?
The key takeaway is that while the book seems simple, you're right, consistency is the bear, and that there's a big gap between what you know. Most of the stuff in the book people know, but it's the application. It's about doing it. So what I want people to walk away with is not only do I know that it's invaluable to be kind, to be nice, to be patient, all the words that are in the book, but also how do I apply this to my leadership role? How do I help my team get on board so that these are attributes or values or characteristics that they're doing on a regular basis or consistent? So if we get consistency out of this, then we're good.
It's a consistent blueprint in layman's terms. When we started off this interview, I didn't realize you written 9 books.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is number 9 and counting. Are there any other books that you're working on right now, or do you plan to? Or
oh boy, I am. I really am focused on the value of right now because there's a companion workshop that goes along with it that we're working on. But the next book is going to be, oh boy, why you can't succeed, and how you can overcome that. And it will be very simple things that organizations are not doing, are not doing. And I hate to get on the AI spin, but why is the value of important? It's important because artificial intelligence, most administrative jobs can be done today, greater speed, greater efficiency, probably also greater accuracy by AI platforms, AI software, AI agents, and things of that nature. The downfall will be people that have not connected with the human touch, with human intelligence and human interaction. And this book really is all about human interaction, the value of that, how important that is, so that as some of our jobs kind of go by the wayside or change because of artificial intelligence, we'll be strengthened with those things that we know that we need to do and how to do them, so that we again connect with people on a human level. That's going to be so important going forward. So I really think that this book is very timely because it helps people navigate back to how do I again create that human engagement with my customers, with my family, and with friends.
I'm glad you brought that up, the concept of AI, but just still having those human qualities and those skill sets to communicate, where AI can't fill the void. It can fill the void on a lot of efficiencies and results and processes, but at the end of the day, solving problems that take a human element or being able to have attention to detail that's relatable has human qualities is something that at this point AI can't do. You had mentioned companion workshops. Would you care
Mhm.
to elaborate a little bit more about what that is and how that relates to the book or your
Yes, I
service
can.
training in general?
I can. And I'm looking down at my notes because this is still a work in progress. But our workshop will be, it could be from 90 minutes to a half a day, but we want it to be energizing. We want it to be purposeful, intentional, so that we get back to the human qualities and elements that make customer service, the workplace, life in general more enjoyable. So, again, the message will include that we want to give is that, ways to strengthen accountability. I'm looking down at my notes, ways to providing people with practical tips so that they can be better, and making it very engaging so that people get a chance and an opportunity to really look at where are my strengths when it comes to some of the words that matter, that are in the value of, and where are some gaps or things that maybe I need to improve to excel within my department, my team, and in life.
You use the word gaps and improvement. The essence of this book, and I'm going back to the book now, is all from a summary of your career or interaction with people. You came up with these 30 lessons, and it could be 34 and more for that matter. But
Mm-hmm.
these are all practical, tactical things that you've experienced
Mm-hmm.
as your life, as a trainer, as a facilitator, as an executive coach, and as an
Mm-hmm.
author. You're taking that practical insight from the people you've interacted with and the gaps.
Yes. Yes, of course. And again, I started with, I think, 10 or 15 qualities of a high performing team. And I added from there when I think about all of the things that it takes to just create a dynamic work environment so people want to come back to work. We don't want people, well, not we don't want people, but in a lot of instances, we were working virtually, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that worked out well because you didn't have to get in traffic. But now, as we're going back in the office, a lot of the just attributes of interacting with each other on a personal level, that's kind of gone by the wayside. So hopefully this will be something too that will help people again grasp the connection of the human interaction and how important that is.
I love it. And I love the concept of the book and the training and the companion training. I want to shift gears with you. If you got a few more minutes, I'd like to go down another path. My favorite topic is video, and you've got an extensive YouTube channel out there and
Mhm.
with video training. Obviously, there's probably information about this book on your YouTube channel, whether it's a book trailer and all that. Talk a little bit about how are you positioning video with your books and your training programs. I think a lot of our audience needs to know about, well, the great videos that you have out there. So it's an
Mhm.
open-ended question for you to visualize your video channel.
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, I have four video channels, I have four YouTube channels because they
Okay.
focus on different things. The value of my main YouTube channel has a playlist. It doesn't have 30 videos, but it probably has about 25 that cover in probably not as much detail as the chapter, but that cover these topics. So for people that like to read and then maybe they want to also look at a companion video, and this is a good thing. The videos are great if you want to have like a quick 3 minute, 1 to 3 minute video that you can show at the beginning of a team meeting or a training session just to reinforce what you've read or what you want people to do. So with the YouTube channel, I've got, again, 4 YouTube channels. One is focused on service excellence. I've got one that's focused on becoming a highly effective leader. But my main YouTube channel, I have multiple videos that are kind of like companion videos in that playlist that will give you more insight or something that you can use as a companion video along with training. This book also is very good. If you're a trainer out there and you're trying to train people on how to be better employees, this is a great companion guide, resource guide, along with the video to help you to do that.
Well, thanks for sharing those resources and obviously your website as well. Now, we've covered your book, which I have here, both paperback and hardcover. That's
Uh-huh.
my social proof and a video book review. We touched on video. any parting shots that you want to cover, whether it's about your book, training programs, or what's going on in your space? I'm going to give the floor to you. Or if any questions you want to push back my way, I'm open for it.
Yeah. Well, I just want to reach out to leaders, because a leader there are 10 qualities of a leader that cares. And one is that you're generous with your knowledge. That's why I created the book, so that I can share the information. Another is that you provide effective feedback that's going to help someone be better. That's another purpose of the book. And another is that you value the perspective of others, even if they're a little different from your own. So, as you look at the book, what it does is help to open up many dynamics of just a couple of simple words that will definitely make you more productive, more effective, more efficient, and a leader that others want to follow, regardless of what level you are within your organization, starting from an entry-level employee, a mid-manager, a senior executive, or a C-level senior leader with your organization.
It's a great way to close everything out. And Theo, I appreciate your time. And I recommend everybody out there to get a copy of, all her books, but let's lean in a little bit to this book here, The Value of. Let's go. We can get it all. There's 3 books right here. Obviously, I'm a fan because I got the book twice.
Thank you.
It's very nice. But yeah, check out what Theo's working on, whether it's executive coaching, training, leadership, service excellence, recovery. It's well documented. She's been doing it for a while and makes an impact, makes results, like we like to say in layman's terms, making an impact with service excellence to stand above your client. You don't want to be average, but extraordinary. Theo, thank you so much.
My pleasure.